Now, Tony Adams, well, you wouldn't bring him back, correct?
I wanted to, but I mean, he looked like he was running in Timberland boots with quicksand around him in the game on Sunday. So I don't know. Got to see how he finishes out the season. But if it's $3 million per year or less, I mean, I would at least think about it.
Yeah. And then the Jets started interviewing GM. So the guy from the Titans, no thanks. Thomas, the guy from
Thomas
Atlanta,
Dimitrov.
yeah, he built a good team, years ago.
Yeah, I he wasn't a name I had on there, but I don't mind that name. Look, man, I'm hoping by mid-January we have an answer. So, a couple weeks.
Yep. Could be longer, man. You don't know. Especially if they wait for somebody from one of these other teams that make it a long way.
I know it's going to be interesting if they lock in on somebody on a playoff team. Could be waiting a while to actually get your guys in the building. Um, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting. Some of those guys, the 33rd team has already talked to, so I'm sure they have a good idea of who they're looking for.
Yep. If you guys want to come up and speak, please do so.
Peter, you still want to draft Will Johnson?
Why not?
No,
We
I'm
need
just
a
asking if that was still like your number one guy.
we need a corner, but we also need a defensive tackle. We could use a wide receiver, especially if Adams doesn't come back. You know,
Yeah, no, I was just asking if Will Johnson was still like your number one guy. Joe had brought him up yesterday. He said he either wants Mason Graham or Will Johnson.
Joe who? Joe Jet?
Uh, Joe, Atlanta Joe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll start having draft guys on soon too, hopefully. So, which is always interesting to learn more about that because I don't know every guy, man. I didn't hear of Malachi Corley until that dude Ryan CB. So,
Yeah, until Ryan Fowler brought him up.
yep. Lee Sean, you can come up here. What's up? CB, who's your number one choice right now?
My number one choice would be to trade back if we could.
Yeah.
I, I don't love this draft. Um, yeah, no, I'd trade back if possible. Get more picks. Get picks for 2026. Build this thing the right way through the draft.
Morning, Petey.
Morning, Joe. How are you?
Good, pal. How the kids, all right?
Good. They're excited for next Wednesday.
Yeah, man.
Joe, what's up? I know you're not all for running it back, but
Well, I'm really not, but I was thinking about this last night too. You know, as fans, right? We over evaluate our own players, right? Like I remember in the preseason how high we were on Brandon McGregor and
yeah,
Leonard Taylor, and they had to make the team because they played so well, and they've done absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, I mean, I know Leonard Taylor's played some, but it's just a shame. The more and more I look at the playoffs and the in the hunt, and it's we should be there. We should be there at worst 9-5 or 8-6, and we're not. We're not. And when you look at Aaron Rodgers' stats, right? 23-8. Um, all I said, and this was my mistake. All I said was, yeah, give me competent quarterback play. We were a quarterback away, and we were not, obviously.
Joe, it's the
Um,
defense, man, in my opinion. And Rodgers wasn't healthy. Everybody could speculate now that it was Tyron Smith that was the problem on the O line. That's what people are going to say for sure. Do you agree with that?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, if Olu starts the season, game one, do they win another game or two? I can't say. If Rodgers hits Wilson in against Seattle, they're up 28-7, right? I mean, they the Colt game, they went, was it, five straight three and outs before they started to get together. Um, you
The
know,
Patriot game
well,
in
the
New England?
Patriot game, right? New England, yeah, right. The Patriot game. I mean, yeah, he missed. Zerline missed another field goal and an extra point, right, in that game.
No.
Of course, the Denver game. That's just, that. I don't know, man. I was never the same after that Denver loss. That to me ruined the
Yeah,
whole
nah,
season.
the whatchamacallit game. The New England game broke me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they just, it's just so many games. But when you look at it, right, uh, ball bounces here, kick a field goal here. They're 9-5. But um, it's a shame. It's a real shame that I have to start looking at um, mock drafts. This early. It's just, it sucks. But you know, I know everybody's all high on Rodgers and Adams, and how they've played the last couple of weeks. Well, these next two games, Rams and Bills, in cold weather. It's going to be 25 degrees on Sunday. God knows what it's going to be in Buffalo week after Christmas. You know, see if they're able to play that way the next two games, because that Miami game ended the season. Miami in the cold weather, they got nothing to play for. I could see the Jets winning that game, going away. To be honest with you, if that's Rodgers' last game in a Jet uniform, or last game ever, he's
Hmm.
gonna want to light it up. Um, but it's a shame, man. The week before Christmas, we should be excited to be in a playoff hunt, and we're not.
Yeah, Terrence, you came up. Good morning.
Yeah, partially because I felt it was the only way to hear everybody, because I would hear you and CB occasionally, and so I tried to become a speaker and I heard everybody. But yeah, I mean, I don't even regarding what Joe said. I don't even know what's sexy about this draft. I mean, there's no, we're not going to get the top two quarterbacks, and if some quarterback rises for some reason during the underwear Olympics or something, it's a mistake to take them in the top 10 if that's where we wind up. To me, and I mean, you know. That's all. It's just it's not a really good draft for some reason. I don't know if it has anything to do with the NIL, and people that are like sophomores and juniors don't have to come out anymore like they used to. But it's just not it's just not a good draft. So it's a long slug till April. But the good news is when January comes, like we're already interviewing people for the GM spot, so that's good. So we get that out of the way, and we just have to hope that they make some good choices. But again, and the only thing I'll say is I don't know if CBM. I want and regardless of what I'm watching out there the last 2 weeks. And as a Jet fan, to see Rodgers and Adams do what they did last week. I mean, what do you call it? On Sunday, that hasn't happened as a Jet fan in a long time. Maybe O'Brien and Walker, like or anything like that. So I say that, with a little envy. But to me, look at Mosley. I mean, we got to deal with him another year because he kept pushing his contract out. There's no guarantee he comes back healthy next year. And so to me, it's like this new regime, they have a right to build the team the way that they want. And when I say build, I mean from where it is right now. As Joe said, maybe we're not a 4-10 team. We got some bad breaks, but I don't know if we're better than the 7-10 we've been. Uh, you know, you know, with Rodgers, I don't know when we need that off level, but they have a right to build the team they want, and I just don't know what head coach coordinator.
Terrence, you're breaking up. He don't even know he's
That
breaking up.
put Devontae. I do, but you can't hear me
You're breaking up.
anymore. All right, so let me bounce out. I'll bounce out. Fuck off.
What? The hell is your problem?
Wow, jeez.
Was it me?
No,
Wasn't he bound? I couldn't hear a
no,
thing
I
afterwards.
couldn't hear him either. He was going in and
Unless
out.
he said fuck off to the Wi-Fi.
June, good morning, my friend.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, fellas.
June,
How you guys doing?
what's up?
Same shit, same day.
Yeah, so I understand the whole thing, but I just don't. If you're already eating the money, you're going to eat money from more and more guys. Like the guys that you could save money on, like Lazard and Adams, I get it. I don't know, man.
I don't want to see Lazard take another snap for this team
No,
ever
neither
again.
do I. By the way, he was
No,
brutal on Sunday.
I,
He should have caught both of those passes. I know the one was tough over his shoulder,
I mean,
but the one that Rogers hit him right by the end zone, you got to catch that.
I mean, give me a break, man. The last two seasons with that guy, and he started the season hot. Although he didn't, he dropped the pass in San Francisco on the first drive. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see Michael Clemens. I don't want to see Javon Kinlaw. I don't want to see Ruckert. I don't want to see any of these guys ever again.
Fuck you, June.
Mosley's Mo, Mos, Mo, Mos, Mosley's deal is tricky though. Unless I want to see if they post June 1st,
Yeah.
Mosley. Let me see.
Yo, we cannot keep CJ ancient ass Mosley on his fucking team, bro.
So if they
He- he-
post June 1st, let me just see real quick. Cut post June 1st. They save
man,
$4 million and they eat 8.7.
Can I ask you guys a stupid question? Right? If
no
you said,
question is stupid, Joe.
yeah, if I don't see how Mike McDaniel survives Miami. I just don't. They're just not. They're they can't win in the cold. Whatever. Would you take him as your OC?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
In a heartbeat. He's just not a good head coach. But he's a great offensive coordinator.
I would like to see an experienced staff though. That's the one thing. Like get me a couple of guys that were head coaches before as coordinators. I wouldn't mind that
I
job.
like that.
So the only thing that concerns me, and I'm going to mention the Bills with the Bills, is they give up a lot of points, but they could score at will. So does it really matter?
Yes, it does matter because at some point, you're gonna face a good defense.
That's the thing. I don't. I like. See, I don't mind the Bills. I like them. I think Josh Allen is just unbelievable. But he is their team. They if they really want to get over the hump, they're gonna have to start to play really good defense, man. And they just the last two games they kind of been exposed. a little bit. Um, does Baltimore run all over them if they have to play Baltimore? Like I don't I don't know, man.
Of course, they run all over them. Look, I don't want to say Buffalo too many times because you know the boogeyman will pop up here.
Yeah, I got you. I got it's funny.
Cards,
Arj, what's
what's up?
going on, brother? Good morning.
What's up?
Morning, Jim. Morning, Petey. Morning, everybody.
Targs, is this run it back sell you at all or no?
Nope. Negative.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, no. Doesn't change it anything in the slightest, Petey. The only thing that stinks is with that game. It's what could have been this year. Adams played his rear end off there in the second half. That chemistry between him and Rogers showed there in the second half. Um, but going forward, I do believe now that Joe Brady, the OC of the Bills, he needs an interview for the head coaching position.
I agree, bro.
Um, the way that Josh Allen looks this year has been exceptional. He's the MVP this year. His decision making, one of the big criticisms with Allen in the past was his bad decision making, turn the ball over in bad situations. He right now is holding on to the ball, making great decisions, and the guy's playing his ass off. Joe Brady does deserve a head coaching interview here. No, there's no question about that.
Yeah, but if
Agreed.
Brady does come here, then to me, you still need to get experienced staff in here. You can't have
Oh,
all first timers.
oh no, Petey, you and I spoken about this a couple of months ago. Once Salah left, um, I would prefer a more experienced head coach. But if you do bring on a guy like Joe Brady or the OC from Tampa Bay, if you do, then a guy like Jim Caldwell or a veteran head coach needs to be brought in here on an assistant coach basis. Absolutely.
Is Jim Caldwell employed by anyone?
No.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Now listen, as much as I just can't buy MPD. I'm bringing Rogers back. I
Me
can't.
either. Me either.
He'll be 41 going on 42, and it's like you have to look forward.
So you're willing to roll the dice next year with Tyrod Taylor and Travis and a rookie?
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, yeah,
Same.
yeah. I mean, the only other option is,
Exactly.
I mean, and he hasn't looked good this year. I don't want to hear about any Kirk Cousins talk for a stopgap year because he does not look the same at all. He looks really
Well, why?
bad.
You think Atlanta's going to cut him?
They might with Penix in the background.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
We'll
not
see.
not I don't necessarily know that drafting a quarterback is guaranteed this year. If you would
That's
right,
correct.
if you would go into the season with Tyrod Taylor, um, uh, oh God, I can't think of his name. The guy that got traded.
Jordan
Yeah, no,
Travis
right,
and
Jordan
Yeah, if they
Travis, Tyrod.
wait, Joe, if they sorry, real quick, if they cut Kirk Cousins, they eat
No,
65 million.
right, but I'm talking about also getting Justin Fields too. Like, would you
But
go?
how much is
yes.
Fields going to
Yes.
cost?
Yeah.
He's
He's
not
not
going
gonna
to
cost
cost much.
nothing.
Yeah.
He don't have a lot of a lot of suitors.
Hmm.
Come
Hmm.
on. It's
Why not go into the season Tyrod Taylor, Fields, and Travis, and then you know, right,
Thank you,
and then
Joe. Man, you always save the
yeah,
day.
and then maybe you know, maybe if you get a experienced smart GM, maybe you try to reload some picks for next year when next year's draft is loaded with the quarterbacks.
My only problem with that, Joe, is that I can't expect anything out of Jordan Travis right now.
Same,
He,
same. That's
the-
he'd still be
you know,
number three though. You know.
he's either I would even consider Joe like a quarterback four because there he had that big setback. It sounds like there about a month or so ago. Um, I can't believe him right now being in the picture until I see him on the field,
I mean, not
even
not
as
for
a
not.
quarterback three.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Right, the guy he broke his leg. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he broke his leg in November um,
Of
of
last
last
year.
year. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
Brian Cox in 2000 play against the
Yeah, he played
Lions
with
with
a
a broken
broken leg.
leg? and they
Yep.
lost that game
Hmm.
10-7. But so like the poor kid had to have something drastically wrong then with that leg if he's still not recovered with a broken leg after a year.
They said he had nerve damage
Oh,
too.
jeez.
Yeah, I mean, the leg was mangled. That's why I didn't understand the pick anyway. I didn't understand the pick. Think about something like you just said. It's been over a year, and the guy is still not allowed to practice.
Honestly, it should have been like a UFDA signing. That's what it should have been.
Right, 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 right. Exactly. We wasted a pick.
Is anyone talking?
No, not for a
Oh,
second or two there.
my bad.
Um, no, but I do like Dimitrov coming in yesterday for an interview. I like
I
him as
like
a
that as
candidate.
well. I thought that was very smart.
I like him. I would hire him.
Mm, so,
I just think the biggest thing now is as the season does start to come around the turn here now, these other teams that have candidates that they're going to interview. I just pray they get this right, guys. You light a candle, you know, create a voodoo doll, do what you got to do, because they got to get this right. They have to.
look, the first move you can tell if they got it right or not. If they decide to bring back Rogers and the rest of the band, we got the wrong GM.
Yes, sir.
That's my
I would
opinion, June.
I wouldn't mind Dimitrov and a Vrabel pairing.
Mm,
I
I,
mean,
What
they
was that,
overlapped in New
Brad?
England. Dimitrov and Vrabel, they know each other from the New England days.
Yeah. 1 second. I
uh,
just got a message from somebody. Listeners, can you guys hear me in the listener section? Tom Ford, Buckeye, uh, Nikki. Give me a thumbs up if you got Rusty. Can you guys hear me? Somebody sent me a message that they can't really hear in the listeners. Let me see. It's on delay. I know that. All right,
Something's
good.
wacky with the space because
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
left and I'm a
Terrence,
speaker again.
thanks for clarifying that you didn't
Yeah,
tell me to
I
fuck
was
off.
doing a line from The Sopranos. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, fuck off, huh? I'm busy over here.
Actually, who was Vrabel's John? It was John
John
Robinson, right?
Robinson, yeah.
Yeah. So you could pair up the two. It's just that I really don't think. I mean, because he's gonna be the number one suitor for a lot of teams, and so he's gonna have a lot of options. I just don't. I don't
I
want to be Debbie Downer, but I just don't see him taking a jet job. I
I could
don't.
see him going to the Raiders. He's boys with Brady. Brady's part owner. He's going to push for him.
Yeah, like I can see that too. That makes sense. I just don't see him coming to the Jets. I don't.
So
Woody would
so
have to
you
overpay for him,
so is the
and
Raiders
he
job
doesn't
more
do that.
attractive? You think
It
because of the
depends
Why
what
pick?
you
wouldn't
think
it
of the
be?
quarterbacks.
Right.
If you
That's what
think
I'm saying because of the pick.
right,
Is
if
that
they didn't have, if they had the same pick as the Jets, like 9, then I would say it's equal ground.
Right.
But the number one pick's attractive.
that's true?
And they're paying nobody on that team. Nobody's due for a big contract. None of that. The only person getting paid on that team is Max Crosby.
And Jacoby Myers. And that's
Oh
about
my
it.
God. Cut his ass after last night.
Yeah. Doesn't he have a law firm to go to? Yeah.
No, that's Salino and Barnes.
Yeah, exactly.
no,
Injury. Every time I
no,
slipped on
no.
the every time I slipped on the ice up there in New Jersey and I fell on my back, I would hear the Salino and Barnes jingle. Yeah, yeah
Oh, from
it's hard to
Terrence
know.
from listening to WFAN so much, you kind of know
Yeah,
like some of the
yeah, exactly.
phone numbers by heart.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, Cosamigos and Umberto's Clam House and all that stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it's a I I would love for it to be like a veteran coach and maybe a new GM. Like I definitely agree that to me there's something to me about a veteran coach because he's been in the NFL long enough where he
Mm-hmm.
can get the right assistants. Because like
Mm-hmm.
if you get a new hey man, how you doing? Okay, good. Yeah, good. If you get a new coach, then everybody's new. New
Mm-hmm.
coordinator, new offensive coordinator. It's like all of that, just like when Salah took over. So to me, it might be better to have a veteran coach, but like to me, my choice is Vrabel. But I agree, because of the Brady factor, I could see him just going there, and but there's still some coaches out there. But anyway, we'll see what happens. That's why January, although it sucks, January will be exciting because we'll find out who our new GM and coach is, and then maybe we'll have a little positivity going forward. Especially if it's somebody that we're excited about. And I gotta go because I've used up my free time. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, don't get in trouble.
But I still want an offensive head coach
Me too, Rusty.
because I just don't want to keep going through the same pattern we've been going through for the past 20 years or so.
24. No,
Sorry.
matter of fact, might be more than that. The last offensive minded, wow, I'm not counting Gase.
Okay, good. I was going to say,
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not even counting Gase. The last offensive mind, what wasn't it? Rich fucking Kotite, wasn't it?
I think that's the only one I can remember.
Oh,
We had
Bruce Costler and Rich Kotite.
we had a decent offensive coordinator for 1 year, Chan Gailey.
Yeah,
No,
Nobody
but
no,
liked
I'm not a
but
we're,
no.
head
we're
coach.
talking
Yeah,
head
I know.
coach.
I'm so,
I know we are. Nobody liked Schottenheimer.
Oh
Everybody
God,
hated
no.
Schotty. Everybody hated Mike Heimendinger, R.I.P. Mr.
Even the
Heimendinger.
players hated Shoddy.
Well, yeah, especially Braylon Edwards.
It
Uh,
wasn't just him. I mean,
who
they all
else?
hated
Who
him.
else was an OC?
Who's that one from the New Orleans Saints? He was like a wide receiver coach. They made OC for a year.
Oh,
John Moore.
the guy. Yeah, John Morton. I was gonna
Yeah,
say
that's
Chad
stiff.
Morton.
Yeah.
He
And then what's
actually,
his name? Marty Morningweg. Remember that mess?
yeah. Them.
yes.
Who else was the other guy? Who
The
was
the the best offensive
Dan
Tony
coordinator the
Henning?
Jets.
Soprano, R.I.P.
The,
Yeah,
the, the best
Tony's.
offensive
Yeah,
coordinator the Jets ever had.
Dan Henning.
No, Charlie Weiss.
No, wasn't it Dan Henning after Charlie Weiss though?
But Charlie Weiss was a part of that super duper Parcells, Belichick. Uh, 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 I mean, that whole staff was amazing. Charlie Weiss was the truth.
What's good, all you football crazy people?
What's going on in office? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, my man. How you doing?
Seen better days, brother. But hey, I'm here.
Believe in the best power you can, brother. It'll get better. Sometimes life gets pretty hard. Sometimes it don't. Them Jets
What's
won.
up,
How about
office?
that, though? What up,
Uh,
Petey Pablo, the
the
man?
wrong thing, office. This team don't know when to win, don't know how to win. It's crazy.
I know Pete was happy, weren't you, Pete?
Of course he
I
was.
mean, I'm not. Not. It doesn't even matter at this.
Slightly.
Like a win is. It doesn't even matter at this point. But
We're just numb to it.
yeah, like
But do you
losing
think they
just
played good?
uh at some point. But I just office to me
Yeah,
and
the
Brad. You're
offense
up.
played good.
Brad. You're a season ticket holder. You can't go. I'm not saying you can't go to a game, but going to a game knowing it's going to be a miserable experience and then hoping they lose. Why even go?
I agree. It's
So yeah, I
it's
can't
it's
do that.
tough. I'm rooting. I will say, like I'm going this Sunday. I'm rooting. I want to see Garrett Wilson do well. I want to see players that you have Olu Fashanu. I'm rooting for that. But it's weird. The outcome of the game, I'm numb to it. I have no like feeling towards it.
So wait, now this was this was a topic yesterday, and I want to know where the room size on is at what point do you play the young guys and see what we have?
Right
The only
now.
guy we need to play is really Corley.
No, there's a lot of players
It's a
that just
lot of
aren't there.
guys. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you've got the young ones, you've got the ones who are undrafted free agents. See
hmm
what you've got. I mean, it's ridiculous. We aren't going to be able to. Winning now is superfluous. You just it doesn't matter. But what does matter is knowing what you have, so that when the GM and the head coach comes in, they've got film on these guys, so they can make a decision as to who should stay and who needs to go. I mean, and what else he's going to need. You've got
hmm
they never play rookies, and
it's sad.
part of that is their culture, and part of it is Aaron Rodgers, who refuses to have anything
Yep,
to do with them.
yep.
Now, can I ask this though? Of that, June, off of that.
hmm Of course.
So think about this, right? If does it, I guess it'd be kind of almost two part. The win didn't really affect
Yeah, it did.
any. It did or didn't.
It did. We went to what are we 8 or 9 right now, Petey?
Uh, not.
We're
I
I
think we're
eight.
believe
eight.
it's 8.
We're eight.
Yeah,
Okay.
bro. I'm getting messages from everybody that there's spaces in and out. People can't hear.
It's definitely been in and out.
Yeah.
I had that when I first came in. I left twice. Closed the app.
Me
I
too.
rebooted my iPhone, um, and now I seem to be able to hear. I haven't heard that cutting in and cutting out. I don't know
It's,
whether it's because now I'm a speaker or not, though.
Yeah.
sa-
Usually, Dom sent me a message. Frank sent me a message. Buckeye.
Same thing, Rusty. I had to turn my phone off and turn it back on, and I'm good now.
But yeah, continue.
No, I mean, at what point do you sit there and play these guys, man? Like, at what point do you
But
do it?
yeah, right. Here's my thing, and this is my thing only. If they're gonna do this and not run it back, then just I, I then blow it all up. I agree with that. But if you're gonna keep players like retain Jamie and Sherwood, you got Quincy Williams. There's people here to win. There is now people gonna say they haven't won. Well, get the right coach in here and let's see. Look at
Yeah, but
you mean look at Denver, man. Go ahead,
here
Brad.
here's the difference. Do you want, let's just say everything goes right, we fix the defense. All next year will be is a flash in the pan. It doesn't set you
Mm-hmm.
up for sustained success. And that's what we really
Mm-hmm.
want as fans.
Yep.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
all for competing next year, but I'd rather compete and take our medicine with the cap hit, whether it's with Justin Fields, whatever it
Yes.
is. I just think we're delaying the inevitable here with,
Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
like, it's
Ah.
a 1 year flash in the pan. It's like the Fitzpatrick year, except we would potentially, hopefully, make the playoffs.
Hey, Petey,
Yes.
I've been saying for 2 months, we're delaying the inevitable. Do
Yeah.
you understand that?
Yes,
It's
June. But here, all right. I want to get this playoff drought over with too. And do I believe in sustained success with the New York Jets? No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, but what
no.
is making the playoffs and going one and done doing? Like, that's
What
going to
you
make me
don't know
more
though.
aggravated.
I agree, Brad. But you never know if you get in the dance. Anything could happen.
I
no, man.
I just I mean, we're praying for something that I
Yeah,
think is very far fetched. We could get to
yeah.
the playoffs, great, but then what? Then the
Understood.
following year we blow it up.
Understood, Brad. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, but what are you doing next year with the bridge guy? Then you're blowing it up again because you're going to start over with a quarterback. So, what's it going to take now? 3 years? It shouldn't
No,
take 3 years.
it don't have to take 3 years, but just get competing out your mind for next year.
I
That
want to see them win, but what about, okay, a scenario where we trade down in the draft, we accumulate more picks, we
right,
compete, but
good
let's
one.
say we win 7 games, right? And then we use those picks and some assets to find our quarterback in this next draft. That's actually supposed to be a quarterback draft.
I get it, but who are you
I like I
trading?
like I like what you're saying there,
Who are
Brett. I
you
like what you're
trading?
saying.
Who is getting traded? What's going on? Who's getting traded? All that. Like who?
Oh, I got a long
Well,
list.
I
I
know
mean,
you do.
I'm not trading Garrett Wilson. He's one of the untouchable ones. But I mean, it's up to the GM. Like that's on him if he feels. Because at the end of the day, to sustain success, you got to get a quarterback. So we got to find one. Enough of these flash in the pan veterans. That's a 1 year wonder.
Thank
I
you.
want to compete year after year. I'm done with these flash in
Thank
the pans.
you.
And guess what? I'll still go to the games, even if they win 5 games. Because at least I'm watching young guys progress. This is a veteran team that I know is
Hmm.
going nowhere. The most we are is a wild card team next year. Are we
Yes.
competing with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens? No.
No.
You're
No.
asking for a
Where
No.
miracle.
you
And
guys
No.
are, you know where you are competing with the Ravens, though, my man? In offensive penalties. My team's number one. We're the worst in the league, and you guys are number two. So we are competing.
And
Football is
there's actually
competitive,
people
Brett.
that want Jim Harbaugh fired or Jim
Yeah,
Harbaugh.
dude.
No, it's
It's
oh,
John
come on, I'll
Harbaugh.
terrible,
give the
Brett.
number
Sorry.
Let's
I'll
jump.
give the overall pick for Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh right now.
I promise you, our offensive line being not very good at discipline is not his fault for sure. Todd
What what
Monken.
need
Todd
what needs
Monken's offense is number one in penalties.
what needs to happen after the season is your scene from Entourage, where Ari Gold walks off the elevator with a paintball gun and just fires everybody and shoots them. The new GM, once the season is over, same thing. We, um, and June, you're totally right on this. And Petey, I think you mentioned this a bit as well. You have to see what we have here on this roster for the new regime. Um, a lot of these guys are not going to be here next year.
Have to.
Um, you have to see from a developmental standpoint what you have in a roster and what you don't have. But the problem is that none of this coaching staff is going to be back here next year. So you have these coaches now that are trying to, at the same point, pad their resumes a
No,
little
no,
bit
no.
for
Right.
looking for the next
Yep.
job next year,
Yep.
and that's a problem here as well. You have to see what you have on this roster.
You know what the
Yeah.
problem is? The problem is the temporary GM. The temporary GM won't step in and say,
Think we lost June.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, yeah. I mean, Phil Savage, the interim, he was brought in, with Douglas, so there's still a bit of loyalty to Douglas there. There definitely is.
And Phil Savage is I know they like him. Neil, you came up. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Hogs.
what's up, man?
Sorry about that, Hogs. I didn't know you were done. Hogs, were you finished? I
Yeah, I'm
apologize.
good. Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
All right. What's up, Neil?
No, I was gonna say I'm with you, Petey, man. I never understood the embrace the tank theory, where teams, people are excited about losing. I think for me personally, when I've been through it, like back in 2012, and I wanted Andrew Luck, it was kind of a coping mechanism based on the failure of my team, right? When you look at the best three drafting teams over the last 7 years in the NFL, the three that come to my mind are the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Lions. Three teams that are drafting after pick 25 a majority of the time at the end of the round, finding gems that fit their system. Lamar Jackson's an obvious answer in Baltimore, but they've found guys like Justin Matabuki in round three. The Chiefs have found guys like Nick Bolton, the linebacker coming out of Missouri, and he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. So I think a lot of it is it's not where you draft, it's who you draft, and the guy that makes that decision is the most important thing. So we're in mock draft season, as a Dolphins fan, and you guys as Jets fans, and it's a fun exercise. But picking your head coach, the players, none of it means nothing unless the guy you have that's running your organization from a personnel standpoint can do something. Case in point, look at Jacksonville. They're about to have their third first overall pick in the last 5 years. Trevor Lawrence, Travon Walker. They passed up on Aiden Hutchinson for Travon Walker. You got to have somebody who knows how to build a roster. And there's a lot of talk always about dead money and cap and da da da. It is what it is. Like that's a part of doing business, right? That's it's like paying taxes in your business in a lot of cases. Like if you look at this year's free agency market, it's awful. It might be the worst I've ever seen. So if you have $150 million in cap space and you're the Washington Commanders, what are you going to do? You're going to go out and overpay a right guard like Trey Smith, who's tremendous, all pro quality player, but you'll probably go out and pay him $25 million a year. Because it's all as the cap goes up, the players' contracts go up. So the way to win is to find a guy who can make the right picks and build through the draft. That is cap proof. And sure, you want to supplement your draft by signing good veterans, but the guys like look, we're the Dolphins. All we do is overpay in free agency, and you can't buy Super Bowls in this league. So I'm with you, Petey, man. I don't ever turn on the TV on a Sunday and be like, I hope my team lose. It helps me cope sometimes knowing that we'll have pick 11 instead of pick 20. But at the end of the day, you could give us pick 1, and I don't have confidence in the guy making the pick, so it doesn't matter.
But Neil, what pick did you guys have when you guys took Tua?
5.
And you got a quarterback changing uh, um, talent. I mean, not counting the health or whatever, but you still got a franchise quarterback, and that you're not gonna. Very few teams get a franchise quarterback outside of the top five pick.
Right.
It just doesn't
Uh,
happen like
it,
that. But
Buffalo
once
did.
you got your
Right.
once
Got
again, it just doesn't happen
Baltimore.
that much.
Baltimore.
you know,
It,
and June, I don't necessarily
How
disagree,
many
but
draft picks has Detroit gotten like that?
they've had a lot.
Yeah,
But I
but
don't.
Detroit drafted the right guy, Neil. They
Yeah,
drafted Stafford. They just
yeah,
couldn't win.
yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't. If I'm being honest, I don't think this is a quarterback draft for the Jets. Like
No, no, it isn't.
the
It
top two
isn't.
guys are going to be gone, Ward and Shador. I'd have my eyes more set on 2026 and build in the trenches this year.
Thank you. Oh, see Neil, oh yeah. See
Oh,
Penny,
I totally agree with that.
Rusty, you hit
You build
it.
inside out.
Inside out.
That
Thank you.
and that's
Inside
why,
out.
and that I've learned a hard lesson. That the Dolphins have been the front runners that have beat bad teams, and they go head to head with these teams that are tough in the trenches, and we get pushed around. It's not even competitive. So if you can't run the football in December and January, you won't win.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Trenches is everything, man.
I'm still getting messages. June, can you mute for a second? I hear like a big echo. Thank you. I'm still getting messages about the space going in and out.
PD, it
Uh,
went away when I came up as a listener. So I think if you're a listener, it was literally every minute. It would go in, and so whenever someone was talking, it was
mm,
every single minute. And apparently, I've had some people message me. It's been happening a lot on a lot of different spaces since last night.
okay. Yeah, I heard it was last night too. June, you
Yes,
here?
sir. We
All right.
you know what we should get our mind around right now looking at tackles. Because Moses, he's not going to play here forever. Solidify your line first. Go at that tight
Tell them
end.
to just stay still.
We
Larry,
also
tell them
Ju-
need
to
defensive
stay
line help
still.
desperately.
Yeah, June, the guy I like for you guys is Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. He gets overshadowed a little bit by Mason Graham, but he's 6'3", 340. He moves well.
Really?
He
He's a
dominates the
fatty.
line of scrimmage. Watch him against Ohio State. I think he outplayed Mason Graham.
Really? Okay. Okay. So I mean, obviously, because Mason Graham is overshadowing him, you could probably get him in the later round, right?
No, he'll be a top 15. Well, you're saying later round in the first round, June, or in general?
I mean, like in second round, can you come back to get him?
He's a top 20 pick.
You no, not the guy that Neil just said.
Neil, you
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
he's a first?
top
He's a
15,
top 20.
top
Yeah.
15 picks. I think he
So
is. I
so you
think.
think him and Mason Graham
Oh yeah,
both?
I think both of them. And then the guys maybe in the second half you can get are going to be Walter Nolan. He's out of Mississippi. He reminds me a little bit of Christian Wilkins actually. And then the other guy that I would mention is Deion Walker, who's a monster from Kentucky. He reminds me a little bit of Christian Wilkins actually. And then the other guy that I would mention is Deion Walker, who's a monster from Kentucky.
Fat that just when they snap the ball, he just lean.
You want that guy that just left Wake Forest, dude. He's the biggest
I
fat
want the
boy
guy.
out there. He's perfect.
Ain't no office. I want the guy that
June,
just
who do
left.
you want? Vince
I,
Wilfork?
I want the guy that just left the buffet. That's what I want. That's who I want. Get him in there.
Remember
Yeah,
Ted
he's at Wake
Washington?
Forest.
Really,
Yes,
I'm
Neil.
gonna look at him. I'm gonna look for him.
Who did Buffalo have in the middle years ago?
Don't you done said Buffalo 3 times.
Oh,
You
come
said one more
on.
Marcel
time.
Darius? Marcel
No, he was
Darius?
real. I I forget who it was.
We had
He's
Saragusa,
coming.
boy.
See, remember Saragusa? See them say, I need a fat guy.
We got Michael Pierce. We had Big Baby, Brandon Williams. They
Goose
called
was
him
in The
Big Baby.
Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
You want the one that's looking over to his mama, waiting for her to give the axe sign, and then they just dominate.
If I'm a scout, I'm hanging out. I'm hanging out at all the buffets. I'm watching who's the fattest guy to come up in there.
Buckeye. You couldn't hear really in the listeners?
Nah, it cuts in and out.
Sucks.
What's going on, Buck?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm all right, brother. I'm all right. I'm about to start hanging. I'm gonna bring a notepad with me to the buffets around here. The biggest guy. Pause.
Hey, look, the one time when I was coaching the little league baseball, the one mom said her son, she's like, he's a fat boy. I was like, we call them healthy boys, okay?
Yes.
Yell that out loud.
Yeah, not for nothing. Chris started the pause thing in the spaces for this one, for this space anyway.
PD, it's migrated to other spaces, though. I've
Huh?
heard it a lot. The,
Oh,
the halls is migrated.
the yeah, I'm still getting messages about the space.
Neil, where do you think?